Hi friends, my name is Umkar Jagdare and I'm coming at you from Detroit, Michigan. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to do your bachelor's for free in US. Let's jump into the topic. But before we get started, I want to let you know that this video is sponsored by Unacademy. But more on that later. So, how to do your bachelor's for free in US. So through my experience of doing undergrad in US, one thing I have learned is it's like going to the war. And you never go to the war unprepared. So similarly, if you're going to do your bachelor's in US, you need money because it is seriously expensive to do your bachelor's in US. For example, your one class, which is usually about 3 to 4 credits, costs you about $1,000 to $1,200 per credit. Because you are an international student, you will most probably be paying international student fee or out of state fee, which are very expensive. And for example, one course will cost you about $3,000 to $4,000. Back home in India, your 1 year of education is usually $1,500. So imagine your 4 courses in America is equivalent to doing an undergrad in India or undergrad in some other country you're coming from. So that's the difference. So how many number of courses you need to finish to do your undergrad in US? So you need to finish about, I would say, 35 to 40 courses, which is about 120 credits. Now, let's talk about what do you need to come to US. So what exams do you need to do in order for you to do your bachelor's in US? So number one exam you need to give is your SAT exam and IELTS or TOEFL, whichever you want to choose. So in my case, when I started preparing for SAT exam, I didn't had somebody like Unacademy or any other company helping me. At the time, it was 2011. I was in Pune. When I went to different consultancies, nobody was preparing students to come to US. So for me to prepare for SAT exam, I literally had to pay my education consultancy about 30,000 rupees, and they basically hired me a math professor and an English professor who started teaching me. So 30,000 rupees, and that was only 1 month. Unlike here with Unacademy, when I see their course, it's only about 7,000 rupees. Now, here's what is the difference between that. For me, with my SAT class, I only got about maybe 20 hours of studying. Whereas with Unacademy, you're getting more than that. So let's look at what Unacademy has here for you. They recently launched this program for SAT. Basically, anybody who wants to come to US for undergrad, they have a SAT program. So because they are really recently starting this, they are giving you a promotion for 7,200 rupees. You can actually have this course for 6 months, and they have structured courses for it. They have 20 full length mock tests, which is, I think, the best thing about it, and they have 300 plus hours of content. And also they have live doubt solving classes, which is really amazing. Not only that, they have also the free IELTS subscription program through which you can actually prepare for both SAT and IELTS together. So you're saving money here. I want to show you this class. So I looked into this class. So there is a free 1 hour session by Kriti Sharma, and she explains exactly what SAT is. And you need to give this test for you to come to US. So it's usually about 1600 points. It's divided in 2 subjects, mathematics and English. English is again writing and reading, and mathematics is with calculator and without calculator. So there are 2 sections in that. So here she explains really well what SAT is and what you need to do to prepare for it and how much scores you need to get into top universities. Over here, I was looking into an exam, a sample exam of how it is. So you can see they have reading test, they have writing and language test, they have a math test, and they also have a math test without calculator. So you can prepare accordingly. The more exams you basically solve, the better score you get. Now, for you to register for this, it's very simple. I'll post these links in the description. What you need to do, basically go here, click on what you want. If you want a 3-month program or a 6-month program, and your referral code is basically the name immigrant. So if you just type in immigrant here and click apply, you will see that 10% discount towards that. So you'll get a 10% discount for using this link. They also have, you can also use this to subscribe for IELTS and other programs. whatever you find is important for you, or what you feel is good for you. Basically, you need to have a really top score in your SAT exam and your TOEFL exam, so or IELTS, whatever you're giving. So for SAT, if you want to get into like top universities, but here we are not talking about getting into top university, we're talking about getting free education, right? So for you to get a free education, you basically need to have almost close to a 4.0 GPA in your 12th grade. So you're scoring really well, above 92 to 95% in your 12th grade, whichever school you're coming from. Second thing you need to do is you also have to have above 1500 on your SAT. So 1450, sometimes people do get in with that scores, but 1450, 1500 are amazing scores. If you have anything above that, you will usually land something called a presidential scholarship. Now, the better the university, the less chances for you to get this scholarship, because there are hundreds of students who are just as qualified as you with those kind of grades who go there. So they don't mind paying that money, and some of them are from US, come from good families, so they don't mind paying that money. So what you can do is you can go to average schools, but because you have top grades, they want you to come there. For example, when I was going to University of New Haven, Connecticut, I knew a student who had a 4.0 GPA. He had more than close to 2200 on his SAT. This was 2011. SAT was out of 2400 at the time. It's changed now. So he had a full ride. No tuition, everything was free except living, but he lived with his parents, so it was basically free for him. So that is one way of you doing your bachelor's for free. Now, second way of doing bachelor's for free is, this is what I learned when I was going to school. So one of the ways is being a student assistant or a research assistant. So when you're doing research for your professor, or when you are a student assistant working with your professor, they will usually have some kind of money allotted towards that program or towards that research. So they will pay for your tuition for that semester, and not only that, while you're being paid for your tuition, they'll also pay you a monthly stipend. For example, let's say you're working for the fall and spring semesters. Every month you'll get about $1,000 to $1,200. I had a friend of mine who did his master's here, and he was doing something like that. He was getting paid about $1,200 a month plus free tuition. I had undergrad friends, couple of them at Lawrence Tech, who did that. They were also getting the same deal. A little bit less money at Lawrence Tech, but pretty much the same deal. So you are not only getting paid for studying, you're also getting paid towards your living expenses, and $1,200 is a lot of money, folks. As an undergrad, I don't think if you're house hacking, living with 4 to 5 people, you shouldn't be able to, go through all that money. You can save some of that towards books or something like that, or even travel. All right, so third way of paying your tuition fee, this is to be honest my favorite way, because the way I look at school is like, I just don't want to keep working all the time and not enjoy my school time. So what I would do is, I would focus on getting high paying jobs during my internships. Now, I know there are tech companies which will usually pay about $5,000 to $7,000 per month for you to do an internship. Now, some of them start, like recently I know a friend of mine who got into Tesla as a structural engineer. Now, structural engineer is not even a tech degree, but they're paying him $37 an hour. So that comes up to be maybe $5,000 to $6,000 a month. That's a lot of money, folks. For a student, he's gonna work there for about 4 to 5 months of internship. So he's basically making $20,000 to $25,000. He can pay his next year entirely of he's in master's, so he can pay next 1 year of his master's tuition fees just by that. So that's an advantage you have. Now, there are limitations on how much internship you can do, because if you're an undergrad, you have 12 months of internship you can do over 4 years. So end of first year, end of second year, end of third year, and end of fourth year, you're actually finding a job. So you have basically 3 years of internship. So if you do 12 months, you should be doing less than 12 months. You do 364 days of internship. You should be able to make about $60,000 to $70,000 just through that, if you do it right. But here's another thing. You can do unlimited part-time CPT, which is basically you can keep working your internship part-time while going to school. So instead of working in your school or working at your university and making $10 an hour, you can continue working at these internships and make maybe 30, 35, $40 an hour, because they definitely pay a lot. So you have to plan this really, really well. So you have to make sure that your university is close to one of these tech companies, you're in a similar or closer area, or you might be able to like work from home or something like that, work remotely. So if you can take advantage of that, I think that is the best way I would do if I were to do it again. Because knowing what I know, there are a lot of tech companies who are paying phenomenal amount of incomes for interns, and they also provide free housing during summer. So you're basically saving a lot of money, folks. All right, now the fourth way, which I recently came to know, which I had an idea about when I was studying my undergrad, and but recently I did a Instagram live and I talked to one of the students, and I found out that you can actually do your undergrad and you're living in America for free via sports. So I found out that this student was playing tennis, and there were only 5 students from that university who were playing tennis, and the student was one of them. So basically they got $50,000 of yearly towards tuition. That means whatever tuition it is, it's not just 50,000, everything is paid for. You only get 4 years here, so you can't extend your program. So you have to understand that you have to finish your degree within 4 years. Now so 4 years of studying, and you also get your living expenses. So they give you a stipend towards your living expenses, so you may get $1,500 a month towards that. But you have to understand one thing, folks, is in order for you to do this, you have to maintain a certain GPA. Usually it's about 3.3 GPA, which is not easy to do, because I remember at Lawrence Tech when I was studying, these sports people will come and sit in the library between certain hours. They have to be there studying no matter what, and when they leave, they have to be on the field or be at their training sessions 4 to 5 hours a day. So it's basically like a job. So instead of like you going and working out somewhere, or like working somewhere in the cafeteria and making extra money, you're basically devoting your life towards sports. So some of these sports include soccer. Now soccer is very popular at Lawrence Tech itself. I'm using Lawrence Tech a lot because I went to school there. That's what something background I have. But for example, I knew a soccer player who was studying civil engineering, and it was free for him. Everything was free for him, living, housing, and it was something they paid him because sports is a big deal here. Now the student I spoke to the other day, they played tennis, and that's how they made their money. Now other sports I know which people can get sports scholarship from are track, basically 100 meter, 200 meter dash. So if you're playing into that, if you're doing that, so I think that is something you can use. And then American football, definitely, if you don't know anything about it, then you don't want to worry about it. But if you have played it, if that's something you have done before, you might be able to get scholarship through that. Basketball is one of them. So if you have been playing basketball, you're really good at it, you can actually attend one of these universities and get a full ride. Okay, there are a few universities who do swimming and stuff like that, but there are very few of them, and usually you have to be really, really good to get in. Really see that will cost you about, I don't know, maybe $150,000, and your living expenses per month are usually about $1,000 to $1,200 a month in US. Like that's what I had when I was doing that. So 4 years of, again, living expenses, let's say $15,000 a year, is about $60,000 to $80,000 in 4 years, because you're also gonna do other things like travel, buying books, and extra. So if you really see, your undergrad is already costing you about $250,000. So how do you plan to pay for that if you don't have scholarships or something like that? So usually you'll take loans, or maybe your family will support you. So all in all, that is the cost of doing undergrad in US. But if you follow these 4 things, you might be able to do your undergrad for free in US. But I think that's pretty much what I had. Again, I'll post all the links in the description. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section, or you can also find me on Instagram. But otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.